I tell you what, you keep making them slimy, sloppy eggs, you make it all right. You're going to go in a coffin.
Let's get a sound check, guys.
Check. No. Check. 1, 2.
Check. You know, I just showed up here in my shirt. You see it. The wizard is neither early nor is he late. He'll get there when they get there, and you be happy that he arrived.
All right, guys, so we're going to kick today's show off with some questions from viewers. We got 3 pulled here from comments and emails and DMs. How do you deal with the past? How do you deal mentally with overcoming things that you've done or experienced in the past and continue on to having a good life in the future?
Man, that's pretty deep.
You know, I'll start off. You know, it's not, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit on the show. Look, I came up rough. Nobody ever pushed the I believe button with JC Knight, and that's okay. And you know, I come from a little bit of a troubled past. You know, people didn't care for me. Probably wasn't the best version of myself. I was honest enough with myself to know that I needed help, and I knew the Marine Corps was something that would make me. I need to be part of something. And you say this, Bo. I need to be part of something that's bigger than myself. And I humbled myself, and once I was on the team, I made it a point to try to find the things within that organization that were things that challenged me along my path. And you've got to keep your feet moving, and you've got to expose yourself to things that are going to make you grow. And I'm glad I did that.
You know, you're talking about, you know, what people may have went through in their past, you know, hell, you can even throw the PTSD in there. You know, I didn't think PTSD was real. I swear to God I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, coming up in the Marine Corps. Trust me, it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, it is real. It is real. It is real. You know, and, you know, if you're suffering or something like that, and the best thing that you could do, we talked about this earlier, is pick up the goddamn phone and put down the bottle. Yeah. And here I am drinking beer, but you know the deal.
Yeah, you know, and that's...
You know, get on the phone. And for those of you out there that aren't having problems, reach out to somebody else because you never know. You know,
we had a guy. Yeah, we had a guy. And I don't want to go too deep in story time, but we had a guy I went through boot camp with, and we were drill instructors with. Just went through a divorce. Phenomenal human being. And he was a legal clerk, career Marine, Master Gunnery Sergeant, and he told us, he said, "JC, you and Bo were the first." He goes, you were the first 2 guys that reached out to me. Right. And he goes, I appreciate that, and I love you guys more than you know. Right. We're all going to have times in our life where we're down.
How about the time we reached out to that captain Sass, the captain?
Yeah.
He said, "Man, that phone call meant the world to him."
You know,
changed his whole day.
You know, I went to work at an NCO academy, which was a dark time for me. I got put at a place I didn't want to go to, and I was on the heels of 4 years of war, and before that I was a drill instructor. So my engine was running in the red of high stress for 7 years. Yeah. And I had a good buddy of mine, Johnny White, retired Sergeant Major, Artillery Marine. Johnny seen it, and he always, a lot of other people didn't get it, but he knew that I was running in the red. We were water survival instructors together, and He looked out for me and protected me, even when I probably didn't know that I was really running, because that's who I became, right? You know, looking back, man, you know, sometimes you got to be strong enough to know, maybe I should have taken a knee for a second and got a breather. And in the meantime,
well, that ain't basically is not in our character, you know.
Right.
So you got to be able to recognize that as a leader. Like he did, and like you did with the Doc.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
But you know, bottom line, you know, you got to lean on each other. You know, and that's the best advice that I could give anybody that's having a hard time, because there are dark days out there, and trust me, I have went through them.
Yeah.
I have definitely went through them. When my demons came, they did not bullshit. They did not bullshit at all. And you know, by the grace of God, I had people in my life that really helped me out along the way. You know, but
and I don't like to pull out anything too personal here, but I remember that when you and me were coming back from Tampa, and you were asleep in the passenger seat, and actual demons. You talk about PTSD.
When I had that dream.
Yeah, your feet started. You started hitting the James Brown in the passenger seat on me. You know,
the demons were grabbing my feet, pulling me into hell.
Yeah, and I kind of reached over and I said, "Bo," and you're like, holy shit, JC. He goes, you came into my dream and you saved me. I visibly saw the materialization of PTSD. It's like, man, that was dark. But I was glad I was there, man. It snapped you out of it, and you were back to where you needed to be.
But just lean on each other. I could have done a lot of things different. I could have reached out when I didn't reach out. When I should have. And now to this day, I try to always make time. If a Marine calls me, Marine Facebooks me, messages me, something like that. Because you never know what somebody's going through. Them demons come, man. When them demons come, they are not nice. Yeah. And they don't give a shit. Yeah.
I think since the root of the question is reflection of what I would offer to somebody, your daily MO, it should be that I want to be there for my people to the best degree possible.
Absolutely.
And you can look back happy with your body of work, your MO, your ways with people, knowing that you did that. So don't miss the opportunity to extend a hand, and that matters. So do that.
How would you advise, someone trying to plan for their future, trying to have a good, let's say they're in their 20s or 30s, just got out of the military, or looking at changing careers? What advice would you give them for, now we've talked about the past a little bit, what advice would you give them for having a good life, moving forward, thinking about the future, but not letting too much of the future slow them down, right? Like, it can be overwhelming.
Look, man, when you're in your 20s and stuff, it's hard for you to see when you're 57 years old like I am now, right? So, like, when I was in my 20s, I didn't give a shit. I was about the party and the people and the good times, which is all fine. But you got to understand, those days go.
They do.
And a lot of that is not even real. Okay? So the advice I could give is you need to look into the future, because there's always going to be a party. There's always going to be women. There's always going to be whatever the hell you do.
It's out there.
It's out there. It ain't going nowhere. Okay? It's your job to move forward. That shit stays there. Now, I know plenty of people that have stayed there.
Yeah.
And I've seen it krill people, we just look to the future.
Yeah.
Come up with a goal. There's always going to be a party. There's always going to be that back there. Don't worry about it,
Boys take care of themselves. Men are males that are prepared to take care of themselves and others.
Right.
You're going to have a lot of stuff thrown at you in your youth that this is the easy button. And we see that in our kids. Our kids nowadays lack self-confidence. Some of them are obese. Some of them don't have any social skills. Nothing worthwhile in this world is going to come cheap, easy, or free. So if you go get a degree, get a hard degree. If you're going to go get a trade, go through a hard trade. If you want to join the military, there's hard service. Do something that you know is going to hurt, because guess what? The hurt is what grows you.
I'll tell you right now what advice I could give. This would probably top it off right here, okay, to somebody that's looking for their future. I want you to remember this. You are not entitled to shit. Everything that you fucking want, everything that you need, everything that's out there, you have to go get it. You are not entitled to jack shit, okay? And if you think you are, we'll see how that works out for you.
Your habits determine your future.
That is, the decisions you make on this day
determine your future.
Will determine what will happen in the future. Absolutely. And I had to learn that the hard way a few times.
Yeah. Your habits will determine your future.
Let's say you had a junior Marine who's doing everything right, but they just feel like maybe they're not doing enough, or they're not, like, they're still overwhelmed by, like, feelings of anxiety about the future, or like whatever. So what advice could you give them maybe of just living more presently?
Tell you what, I would tell them to stay the course. If you do the right thing and work hard, God damn it, it's going to work out for you. You agree with that?
And you say, you talk about kids getting overwhelmed. Here, you've probably heard this analogy: kill the shark closest to the boat, kill him. Now that one's closest. Now go kill that one.
That's it.
In the absence of orders, you go find something and kill it.
That's
And the one that
Goddamn,
and the one that's closest to you, you kill that one first, and you go to the second one. And if it's too much for you, Bo, I need help.
And I'm there.
This is a big bastard. I need help here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Stay the course. And listen, we've all done it, but do not feel sorry for yourself. You don't rate shit. Okay, you got to make it happen.
Pick up your pack and keep moving.
Pick up your pack. Yep, pick up your pack and kill the shark closest to the boat.
That's it.
And then just keep moving because some way, somehow, goddamn it, it's going to work out. Listen, 99.99.9% of everything that you really worry about, if you steer the course and you keep pushing at it, it'll all work itself out. Think of everything in your whole life that you really fucking worried about. Somehow, it's worked itself out.
Take it from me.
You know?
If you don't believe, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
There's a common saying that a man needs a mission, right? It's just a popular saying.
A man needs a purpose.
A man needs a purpose. What comes to mind when you hear that? Do you think it needs to be material or financial, or what comes to mind when you say that?
You know what? It depends on the man. You know, maybe this man's purpose is his family. Maybe his purpose is his job. Maybe his purpose is, but yes, you definitely do have to find an objective and go after it. You know?
I think I agree with everything Bo just said, and moreover, you know, you start to get older and you realize your mortality. We try to say 40 is middle age. No, 40 means I've probably got more days behind me than ahead of me.
I told my son that the other day.
And time is probably our most valuable asset.
Yeah.
At this stage of our life.
My son said something the other day like, "Dad, that's weird coming from you." And I said, "Well, son, when you have more days behind you than in front of you, kind of changes your perspective on things."
And that thinking about, you know, more days behind me than ahead of me, I think about time is my most valuable asset. So when we go out somewhere, let's say we're at a bar, we're in his driveway, my driveway, I think about that the next day. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take tomorrow, which may be my last day. Every day could be your last day. I want it to be around people I care about, people that I can help. I want it to be some type of purpose-driven event that day, because if it's not, it's not worth that's a day wasted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Now, I'm not saying don't take a day off and don't lay around on the couch and watch football all day. Everybody, you need to watch. You know,
but guess what? You're doing it in the comfort of your own home with your people.
But you need days like that. But you know, I mean, I'm telling you, you know, if I don't have a purpose, I don't have something to do, you know, or something to focus on, I'm a goddamn train wreck.
Idle hands are a tool of the devil.
Idle hands are a tool of the
Buddy,
devil.
look at that.
Buddy.
Look at that.
So what could you speak to, maybe helping people focus more on things that they can actually control over things that are happening 100 miles away somewhere?
Here you go. I'll start this one off. We learned this real quick in the culture we grew up, which is the Marine Corps. Body, gear, weapon, individual, team, squad, platoon, company. You have to be wise enough to know, okay, let me show the people in my environment that I can take care of my own ass. I can clean my weapon. I can take care of myself physically. I can carry my pack. So what that translates to somebody that's not in the military, I should be somebody that's solid morally, mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm carrying all that. Now, once I'm good at doing that myself, now maybe I can extend that to my family, which is my fire team. Then from there, it's my extended family and my friends. Now I'm taking care of a squad. You've got to know your level of influence. So before you go and get pissed off about Donald Trump or Joe Biden and you can't even police your own fucking ass, you should probably go back inside, do some push-ups, learn something, read a book, and then go from there and be like, oh, I was pretty good at that. Now let me see if I can share this and make the people to my left and right better before you go spouting off the mouth about your worldview.
Let me tell you about social media. Social media is the perfect platform for people who love to fight but are scared to death of taking a fucking punch.
Amen. I'll use an example, man. You get up in the morning, and I watch local news because you want to see the weather. That's the sign we're getting old. You want to see the weather?
Yeah,
and immediately the Today Show comes on. And you know what they talk about? The Pope dying in Rome, and they talk about the royal family. I don't give two flying fucks about the Pope or the royal family. I don't mean that to be rude, but I'm more worried. You should be more worried about what's the mayor doing to my town. What are they doing here to fix this problem close by? You get something that is put out there to pull an emotion to get you to focus on that. It's like, you can't fix that jerky. Go fix what's in your circle.
Right.
You can certainly have an opinion on it, but if you can't fix what's within your effective casualty radius, you shouldn't be worried about your damn worldview. And now that we live in West Virginia, we bitch about this all the time. I get people in there that want to spout off about politics because that's probably one of the most polarizing things to get people worked up. So if you live in West Virginia, you haven't been north of Pittsburgh to see a Pirates game because your grandparents took you in 1997. You haven't been west of Kings Island to ride a roller coaster or south of Myrtle Beach. Do everybody a favor and shut the fuck up and keep your fucking worldview to yourself, right. Clown.
You ain't seen dick.
You ain't seen shit. You don't know about no said Wall-E. You don't know about said Wall-E.
Yeah, just shut your fucking mouth.